isn't for consultants and talking points. It's for people who work, pay taxes, raise families, and live here. This is the Jake Underwood Show on Cleveland's AM 1420. The Answer.
Hello and good morning. Welcome into the Jake Underwood Show right here, AM 1420, The Answer, 102.9 FM. We're on Rumble, X, and YouTube. And I know normally right now is when I give the headlines, different things going on, and what we're going to talk about. But we're going to kick it off. We got a very important special guest joining us on the Marcello's Hot Honey Pepperoni Hotline. You know him as Secretary. He's the Secretary of the Interior. Of course, we're talking about Doug Burgum. I'm so excited to pick his brain on some of the big news that came out last week after some studies were done. Secretary, good morning, and thank you for joining us.
Hey, Jake, great to be with you. Great to be on your show.
So I got to ask you, because I haven't seen it get much attention. This report comes out. There's the survey done. They're talking about 600 years of coal. Can you give us some of the background on this? Because I read this and I go, there's no way.
Well, absolutely there's a way, and this is just part of the President Trump's agenda to unleash American energy. And we are so blessed as a country, the abundance we have, and coal is just one of those beautiful, clean coal. 600 years worth is what we have in America, and primarily a lot of that is on public land. So when these resources are developed, this is revenue that comes in as opposed to costs that are going out. Instead of subsidizing, intermittent, unreliable, foreign-sourced, expensive forms of energy, aka renewables. We've got stuff where we produce it. It's 7 by 24. We need coal for metallurgical coal to provide coke, which we need for steel. There's critical minerals in that coal. We can produce coal cleanly in America, cleaner than anyone else in the world. And then coal has been under assault, demonized by climate extremists for over 25 years in this country. But just a point of fact, about 125 years ago, coal was the number one electric power producer in the world. Last year, in 2025, coal was the number one power producer in the world. This year, in 2026, it'll be coal. China added 78 gigawatts of coal last year, and 30 gigawatts runs all of California. So they added 2.5 gigawatts, or two and a half times as much power, 78 gigawatts they added just last year in China. Wow. So, if you read one more story about China running, having all these EV cars, 2 out of 3 ought to have a bumper sticker that says powered by coal, because about 2/3 of Chinese electricity is coming from coal. It was yesterday, is tomorrow, still is. So for us, when we want to have affordable, reliable power in our country, this is one of the mixes that we need. We can't at a time. We need energy addition. Energy transition was basically a lie, because if you got rid of 7 by 24 and replaced it with weather dependent, we're going to have power if the wind blows or the sunshine. That was energy subtraction. We need energy addition. We need it for onshoring manufacturing. We need it for jobs. We need it for affordability for the hardworking people that listen to your show. We need it for all that. So this is just one of the many things on the USA's balance sheet that President Trump is unleashing, because as we get back to developing our oil and gas resources, our timber resources, grazing our public lands, all of that is revenue coming in as opposed to cost going out. Thank goodness we got a businessman running this country.
Yeah, no, well said. And I mean, we talk about it a lot of the phone calls we get, especially because AI data centers, that's the big thing, and it has its pros and its cons. And I'll be honest, I'm iffy on it, just, with the different things that I hear. But one of the main things that we hear, it goes down to energy. What is that going to look like? Are we going to pay for it? Can the grid handle it? We have all these different questions. So the fact that we have this abundance, and I liked what you said about the electric cars in China, powered by coal. That's very funny, and I pictured it in my head when you said it. But, we look at this report. How does this report change the approach to things? Because you brought it up. You talked about the green energy, and, we're seeing windmills. We want solar panels, all these different things. And there are all these restrictions put on things like coal. How does this outlook based on this report, how does that change how we move forward when it comes to coal?
Well, the big change that President Trump was able to drive was last year during the Working Families Tax Cut Bill, also known as the Big Beautiful Bill. I mean, in that program essentially brought an end to these incredibly expensive subsidies for wind and solar that made no economic sense. Because again, if if you add this stuff that's intermittent and it's blowing at a time of the day when you don't need the electricity, then all you're doing is shutting down something else. You're not replacing it. You still need all the base load for days like last winter when that winter storm Fern came through, 22 states, including Ohio. We had those super cold week. The solar in the Northeast was all covered with ice at the beginning with the ice storm, basically producing zero. The peak times came after the sun was going down. Solar contributing no electricity at peak moments. Wind was about 2%. And if we hadn't been able to flex up coal by 50%, if the Trump administration hadn't by using the authorities that we have to stop people from shutting down baseload power like coal, we would have never made it through because natural gas flexed up by 50%, coal flexed up by 50% to cover the fact that we basically had no wind and solar power generation during that storm. We would have had people freezing to death across our country, and not a couple, like hundreds. We lost a couple hundred in Texas during that Storm Uri a few years ago. This one was much bigger and much longer. So literally it's a matter of life and death. These policies aren't, and again, super expensive subsidies going in. So when the working families tax cut stopped the subsidies, there are zero offshore wind projects being started in this country right now because people weren't they weren't going after these to produce electrons. They were going after them to produce tax credits for themselves.
Yeah, no,
investors.
That's a big point. And I try to harp on that. A lot of the stuff that you see, it's because they're going to get a kickback, and it's not even that they actually care, and it's not even that it's something that's going to work. It grabs the headline. People go, oh, wow, this is incredible. Green power, whatever it might be, whatever the trendy thing is at the time, but it's really not going to give any help. Now, I do have a question because we talk about it a lot and we hear about it, and we're talking about, American energy dominance, and we are dominant. We're starting to see the strides. How do we go from being not only dominant, but how do we go to be completely energy independent here in America so we can rely on not other countries, but us, that we actually have the supply and we are the ones that use our supply?
Well, we're getting closer, and parts of our country are there where we've got states that are not only using 100% of our own U.S. American reliable, affordable energy, but also exporting it to neighboring states and exporting it to other countries. We're producing. I mean, just 18 months ago under Biden, there was a ban on LNG exports, and now we're the world's largest exporter of liquid natural gas. And in doing so, we have displaced 2/3 of Russian sales into Western Europe, a country that's in year 5. Russia, a country 5 years of waging war in Eastern Europe, and they're funding that war effort. Iran was funding 24 terror groups with their sales from their oil fields. As we displace people like Russian or Iran's sales, if we do that, they've got less money to fight these battles. So again, part of energy dominance is affordability at home, but it's peace abroad. If we can sell to our friends and allies so they can stop buying from our adversaries, that's part of the plan. And of course, President Trump throw in Venezuela. We turn a sanctioned adversary into a strategic ally in 45 minutes. Remarkable. And people thought that was impossible. But at Venezuelan oil, larger reserves in Saudi Arabia, all of it now flowing, towards the Gulf of America coast refineries, which were set up 20 years ago to handle Venezuelan oil. That's lowering the price of, jet fuel, gas, diesel in all the Gulf states down there. And then Alaska had been sanctioned by the Biden administration more than Iran. I mean, they had 72 executive actions out of the Biden administration stopping oil and gas production in Alaska. And we have an opportunity there to sell to our territories where we've got military bases, Guam, American Samoa. All of those locations are in the Pacific, which is our first line of defense against China. Those are all part of interior, oddly. But we were, those island nations and Hawaii dependent on foreign oil. And you know who else? California. Craziest energy policies in the country, followed by New York. But California at the time, in February of this year, they were importing 60% of their oil from foreign countries. The number one country California was importing from was Iraq. They're the one state that was dependent on Strait of Hormuz gas and oil coming out, and they've shut down so many refineries through strangulation by regulation. They used to have 36 refineries, then they had 8, then they have 7, now they're heading to 6. They have more internal combustion cars than any other state in the state that was going to be all EVs. They have more cars than any other, and they import 25% of the refined product. So you talked about a completely achievable vision of us being energy independent, 100% on America, not tied to the global markets. California going the opposite direction and putting themselves in a position to be completely dependent on foreign markets and foreign imports. And there's nothing cleaner. They're not saving the environment.
Right.
When you get oil from the Middle East, it's refined in China or Malaysia or someplace, and then shipped across the Pacific Ocean so it can go into a gas pump in California. That's not. There's no environmental pluses to any of that approach when they could be using clean American, locally sourced products right here. I mean, the policies matter. So, I mean, for your listeners, I mean, thank goodness you're living in a state, Ohio, which is generally pro-energy, and, like New York, banning fracking. I mean, look at how Ohio has benefited from the energy industry in Ohio. It'd be a different place if you had New York's policies.
And, of course, we're talking to Secretary of Interior, Secretary Doug Burgum. Now, I got to ask you, because, I mean, the gas prices, that's what people are seeing. That's what they see the most when they're driving down the street and everything. And we talk about it a lot here. And I always bring up the point. I go, yeah, gas prices are high. And I think there's confusion there, because we hear President Trump talk about how we're getting a deal on oil and all these things. But we don't really have the refineries for it. A lot of the refineries, it's as if they can't keep up with the oil supply that we have, and that's why we see higher gas prices. At least that's my understanding of it. That's how I've come to cope with it, to say the least. What would it take to start to open up new refineries to really keep up with the demand that we have right now?
Well, that's one of the things we're working on, because you're absolutely correct, Jake. We've got. Even if we get a very low price of oil, which President Trump has been a master at driving the price of oil down, do that, as they call it, the crack spread, because when you're cracking, another name for refining, but from what the refinery buys the oil for versus what they can sell the product. But there's very high demand right now for diesel, jet fuel, gasoline. The economy is strong and getting stronger, and we need to up our refining capacity. Absolutely, we need to do that to help drive those prices down. But along the way, we have had during the period of time that we have here with these conflicts going on, there are state policies that also affect this. Yeah. And we did a national survey, and we keep showing the national average price of gasoline. We talked about California. You take states out that are controlled by I'll call it blue legislators. States with big blue metros that are dominating their politics. Those states, it's about exactly 50 cents a gallon more expensive in those states than it is in red states. So, I mean, I always tell people, if you live in a red state, congratulations. If you don't, then drive your car over there and fill up in one, because you'll save some money.
Yeah, I mean, I have some friends out in California, and I ask them, I go, how much is gas? They go, we're looking at like $6.05, and I'm like, what? That's crazy. I mean, I'll tell you, here in Ohio, the big thing, because this morning I paid $3.79 a gallon is how much I paid here in Ohio. We're freaking out because we want to have a tax, basically a federal tax, not federal tax, but a gas tax holiday. And we're going, it'd save us 30 cents. We need to save that 30 cents. I couldn't imagine how much they've just taxed on with just, tacking on taxes here and there, especially in states like California. But to go back to the refinery point, I'm happy to hear you say that, because that's a point that a lot of people bring up, and we never know who to ask about the refineries, because we have all these barrels. They're kind of just hanging out, and we need to turn that into gasoline. So, and I think one of the problems when it comes to the refinery is they take so long to build. And, with the way that things sway in politics, it used to be every 4 years it'd go back and forth. Right now, it's looking like it's every 2, depending on what happens with the midterm elections. But once they start building something, you don't know who's going to come in, what policy is going to change, what challenges they're going to have to overcome just to get this thing built. And the 5 to 10 year project can turn into a 15-year to 20-year project.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, and we do have some. We have some refineries that have shut down that we can bring back online maybe quicker than starting from scratch. We have done everything we can in the Trump administration to cut permitting times, and whether that's for mining, for timber, for building transmission lines, all of this stuff. I mean, part of the cost that Americans were paying was the regulatory regime just added trillions of dollars in a macro sense, but real dollars, thousands of dollars to every family every year, that these regulatory costs that often did nothing for the environment other than just raise cost on consumers. And as you know, President Trump and everyone in this administration likes to say, it's innovation, not regulation, that's going to bring prices down. And we have such an opportunity with innovation right now to innovate, including innovating on how we do some of these permitting. I mean, we completely outsourced mining in this country. We had a copper mine when we got into office, have been trying to get a permit in Arizona for 29 years.
Wow.
We got it done in 4 months. And I'm like, this is America. I mean, we built the Alaska pipeline 50 years ago on our bicentennial year in 1976. We built it in 28 months, 800-mile long pipeline crossing 4 mountain ranges. That's America. That's what we used to be able to do. And now you can't even get a permit in 28 months. And President Trump doesn't accept that. He doesn't. We don't have to live that way. And so we're changing all that. And so there's even some of these coal expansions that we've been able to do. We've gotten permits to people in 25 days. And people say, how is that possible? I said, well, we didn't add, 30 days of slack time between every little task in the process. And I mean, we just cut out all the stuff. We did all the work, followed the law, got it all done. But just, put a team on it and say, this is your job until you get the permit done. And, you can get, we got EIS statements done in 25 days instead of 2 years.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. I mean, it's so funny when government wants to help the people, they could do it. Before I let you go, Secretary, I want to ask you it's kind of a fluff question, but because President Trump's term, it's coming to an end. When people look back at your time in this office as Secretary of Interior, what do you want people to remember about you and your time in this position?
Well, I want them to remember that we understood that we have a responsibility around what I call America's balance sheet, because you take the coal, the oil, the gas, the timber, the grazing, the onshore, the offshore. I mean, we're managing 500 million acres of land, 700 million acres of subsurface, and 3 billion of offshore acres. And we're managing that for all of your listeners. I mean, everybody tells, every 4 years, we've got this national debt. We have this national debt, whatever. We've also got national assets, and the national assets could be 8 times higher than our debt. But under Biden, the revenue coming off of those assets went down every year. Yeah. I mean, because of this regulatory strangulation of our economy, of ranchers, people that work on the lands, people in mining. I mean, and all these things affect your electricity prices. They affect your housing prices. They affect, the inputs that we need, like electricity and timber and food. So when we're doing things right at Interior, when we're managing that balance sheet for the American people, we are creating a foundation of affordability. We're helping bring back the American dream. We're doing all of that stuff. And again, how fun it is to work for a president who just says, go, 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 make it happen. And, and if anybody thinks, President Trump, he's got 2.5 years left, and then they're going to be like, he's only got 2.5 years left. He's done more in 18 months than some of these presidents have done in 8 years. I mean, 2.5 more years, what we're going to be able to accomplish under his leadership with the momentum we have right now, incredible. And that's why, midterms matter, so that we can keep moving ahead with all the progress that's being made, that is definitely making a difference for every American family.
Well, Secretary, I want to thank you for your time today. I know you're a busy guy, and taking the time out for us, I appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing how everything goes moving forward. I not that I wasn't confident before talking to you, but I'm even more confident that you're the person that's in charge of all of this. So thank you for all the work that you're doing.
Well, thanks. Thank you, Jake. And, growing up in a small town in North Dakota and growing up around people that that made their living working on the land, was perfect background for this. And of course, it's in my second term as governor. First term was under President Trump. He and I were business guys that got elected the same day on the same night for the first time. I'd never been in office before. Working, it was like a gentle breeze at my back for 4 years as governor, moving the state forward. The second term under Biden, by the time we left office, we were involved in 30 legal cases against the federal government. They weren't following the law on even doing things like, holding the required oil and gas leases on federal land in our state. We had to sue the federal government to get them to follow the law. And so that was interesting. So we had those lawsuits going, and now they're against the department I'm running. So I'm waiting for Burgum versus Burgum in the Supreme Court.
That's hilarious. Well, thank you for your time, and have an incredible day.
Okay, you too. Thanks, Jake.
That, of course. Thank you so much. That is Secretary Doug Burgum. He's the Secretary of Interior. I could have talked to him for a while. That was very cool. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll
just give a real quick update because we got Donovan coming up.
Yeah.
Fauci has invoked the Fifth Amendment and is not answering any questions. And the lawyer sitting at the table with Dr. Fauci was removed by security.
All right. So that's the update there. We're going to take a break. When we come back, Donovan O'Neil. Yeah. We're going to talk about what they're up to because Americans for Prosperity, they're putting in the work. We'll talk about that and more when we return. This is The Jake Underwood Show.
The Jake Underwood Show on AM 1420. The Answer.
Welcome back to the Jake Underwood Show right here. AM 1420, The Answer, 102.9 FM. You can watch us on X, Rumble, YouTube. Just search The Jake Underwood Show. That last segment, we had Secretary of the Interior, Doug Burgum. Big thank you to his team. That was great talking to him. I didn't get to talk to him about North Dakota, though, because I love North Dakota. It's one of my favorite states. So
he seemed like a nice guy.
Yeah, that was very, and we got answers about the oil refineries, finally, because everybody's talking about it, but nobody really has, like, the answers for it. So I'm glad we got to actually ask him about that. But now, because it is Wednesday, my dudes, you know what that means? This might be the most special guest of the day, Seth, I'm going to be honest.
Absolutely,
I said it during the commercial break. It was great having Secretary Burgum on. But now we're going to the Marcello's Hot Honey Pepperoni Hotline, and he joins us every Wednesday, and we're getting some updates. Of course, I'm talking about Mr. Donovan O'Neil. Good morning, sir.
Well, with that welcome, it's the best place to be is with you guys.
I had to give you your kudos.
Ego up here.
You know, I had to hype you up a little bit.
My ego now is almost as big as Dr. Fauci's.
Oh,
my
man.
Goodness.
Well, just don't plead the fifth when I ask some of these questions. You know, side note: Are you shocked? Are you shocked that this is the way that it's going with him?
No, not in particular. But you'd think you'd at least try to defend some of the actions you took. But this is just the way it goes.
Yeah, but he gets to write another book about, the way that this affected him. It was so traumatic. He's going to be able to write another book. Maybe he'll just release his diary.
Poor guy keeps getting persecuted.
That's what it is. That's exactly what it is. Speaking of playing victim, we're going to talk about John Husted, and he's running against a guy who loves to play victim. Of course, we're talking about Sherrod Brown. So right now, we know the work that Americans for Prosperity, what action and what you all do, and you help Bernie Moreno get across that finish line, knocking on doors, and you pointed out we're what is it 90? We're 98 days away.
98 days, I think technically, but 97 if you want to be an optimist, right? It depends on where you count where the number is. But yes, under 100 days till Election Day, and we've nearly hit 400,000 doors already.
Wow.
We're on pace to clear over 1 million again. It's what we did. We did 1 million for Moreno to put Sherrod Brown into retirement. We're going to need to do 1 million for John Husted to make sure Sherrod Brown stays in retirement. But it's going to take the work of a lot of folks getting in the trenches and doing that heavy lifting to make sure we don't go backwards in history here.
What are you seeing from Ohio voters? Because, it's a midterm election, so I'll be honest, I'm nervous. I don't know if people are going to go out to the polls just because it's not a presidential election, and this doesn't necessarily have the glitz and the glamour of a presidential election. So a lot of people, they don't. I don't want to say that they're not engaged. They know what's going on, but they don't necessarily make it out to the polls. What are you hearing from voters when you are out there and you're talking to them about just how important the outcome of this election is?
Yeah, you, me, Seth, I've said it many times on the show before, right? We're weird folks. We eat, sleep, breathe this stuff. We only think about politics. We tune into YouTube to listen to Dr. Fauci plead the fifth.
That's right.
We are, right? So the vast majority of Ohioans, the vast majority of Americans, right, are not dialed into this stuff, and that I envy their ability to live their lives and not be consumed with it. But the reality is, they still vote. They have a voice in this democratic republic that is the American experiment. And our job right now is making sure they understand what's at stake. Because for a lot of folks, their interaction with politics comes through a TV ad in October, a piece of mail they read, and then they go vote. And if they don't get the right information, if they don't understand what's truly at stake in this election, there's a chance, right, you make a vote in the wrong direction just because a slick ad caught your, influence the way that you're going to vote. We break that down. We break through that noise, I should say, through the canvassing work we do, talking to people at their doors, engaging with them in their communities, one Ohio into another, talking about what's at stake and why John Husted over the political chameleon that is Sherrod Brown is the right choice forward if you want more affordable energy, lower grocery and gas prices, and you want to make an America that works for working people.
I'll ask your opinion on this because I think the mark, it's about 45 days out from the election. I think people usually know who they're voting for. I noticed that 45-day mark. So we have in my mindset is I got basically about a little over 45 days to make sure people know what's going on and their mindset going into the election, because I think once you're 45 days out, people have made up their mind. I mean, what's your timeline where you know that, all right, I have a certain amount of time to be able to talk to someone, maybe change their mind on something, maybe make them reconsider a thing or two before they are just, concrete. This is where I stand no matter what they hear, it's not going to get through. What's that timeline in your opinion?
Well, it certainly is, right? There's more opportunities to help connect the dots for voters today than there will be the day before the election.
Mm-hmm.
45 days doesn't seem too far off, right? A lot of it that, in October is about getting the vote out. But I'll tell you what, a story that continues to stick with me was last cycle. I was knocking doors where I live in Mansfield, Ohio. It was probably about 6:30, 7 o'clock in the evening, Monday before Election Day. Probably knocked 125, 130 doors. Go to this one more house. She's got a, no joke, Trump sign in the front yard, American flag on the flagpole, middle class kind of neighborhood, nothing fancy, nothing unique here. Go to her house. I'm thinking this is going to be a slam dunk. I'm going to end it with a yes vote for Bernie, and I'm out. Talk to her, and I say, hey, I see your flag. I see your sign. Sure, we can count on you to vote for this guy, right? And she's, no. Like, ma'am. Like, I don't know, I rate Jake. I was like, ma'am. Because I usually don't. Like,
right.
Are you serious right now? And she said, well, I've seen some of the ads, and I don't know if Bernie Moreno's for the working person. So I've seen what Sherrod Brown has said, and I might vote for him. And I was like, ma'am, you are voting for Donald Trump. You've got the sign, right? She said, yeah. I was like, and you're going to vote for Sherrod Brown, who is antithetical to everything that Donald Trump wants to get done when he becomes president. And she's like, oh, well, I just don't know. I've seen the ads. So Jake, I don't know how she ended up voting. We'll never know how she ended up voting, but I made the best pitch I could. She left me believing she was going to vote for Bernie Moreno. Ultimately, Moreno's senator now, thank God. But point being, Jake, I've had situations in my 20-plus years of doing grassroots work where the day before the election, hours before people cast the vote, they may still not quite know what they're going to do. And that's why the work we do at Americans for Prosperity Action, the canvassing work, the grassroots work that so many people join us to do matters, because it comes down to, till that person casts their ballot, their vote is up for grabs.
Right. Yeah, no, that's a good point. And yeah, that's pretty, we got to find her and see how she voted. But you have some of those days coming up where people can get involved. AFP Action, they have their statewide days coming up. It's August 1st, August 8th, and then August 15th. What are those events and what can people expect?
Yeah, well, we've got folks out there 7 days a week knocking doors, but Saturdays in particular, those dates, August 1st, we're going to be over in Dayton. Actually, this Saturday with Senator John Husted over in Huber Heights, a very veteran focus through CVA Action. On the 8th, we're going to be up in Northwest Ohio, Toledo, in that battleground congressional district, working to turn the vote out up there. And then on the 15th, we'll actually be your neck of the woods in Cuyahoga County. Might have a few special guests to join us for that as well to be announced. But the goal here is going to be to rally and show support for Senator Husted, but then also to follow that up by going out and knocking some doors, right? If we're not asking for folks to give us a full day. We'll take it. We can get it. But the goal here, right, is rally and support, and then 30 minutes, 2 hours, all day, whatever someone can give, join us to help spread that word and get these voters off the sidelines and into the fight, because the future of the country depends upon it.
Yeah, no, well said. But Donovan, before I let you go, there are probably some people that are still undecided, and I think we're getting to that point where they might not be. But to those who are, what's something you would tell them just about either getting out to vote, make sure that you get involved with the midterm, or voting for Senator John Husted?
Yeah, Sherrod Brown is a chameleon of a politician. He has mastered the art of telling you what you want to hear, but then doing what special interests in D.C. want to do. And I'm not making that up. 30 years in Washington, D.C., you can look through his track record of votes. He consistently votes with folks like Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, Hakeem Jeffries, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris. The list goes on and on. He is a yes vote for that Democrat socialist agenda that is rising up in this country. It's not just in a corner of the nation now with Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. It is across the nation. If you want to push back against that, You got to get out and vote for John Husted, somebody who's voted for the working family tax cuts, who understands energy abundance is necessary for the future of American dominance, and is actually in the trenches delivering on the things Sherrod Brown tells us year after year he's going to do, but never does.
Donovan O'Neil, thank you for your time today.
Thanks as always, Jake. Good to talk with you.
Yep. That, of course, Donovan O'Neil from Americans for Prosperity Action here in Ohio. Once again, those dates, if you want to get involved, August 1st, August 8th, and August 15th. That's a Saturday. So you can get involved and go knock some doors, make sure people get out there to vote and vote for the right candidate. This is the Jake Underwood Show. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll recap what we've done so far in the show. Kind of fast-moving hour, but we're going to recap that for you. We'll talk a little bit about what's going on with Dr. Anthony Fauci, and we'll give you the updates on that. Plus, we have some things locally to talk about. We got an IKEA coming. That means we've made it. That more when we return. This is the Jake Underwood Show.
Answer.
Welcome back to the Jake Underwood Show right here, AM 1420 The Answer, 102.9 FM. We're also on X, Rumble, and YouTube. I said it before we spoke with Donovan O'Neil, but I want to make sure that I touch on it again. I'm so happy, like actually, that we got some answers about the oil refineries. Because I've talked about that. I think I've talked about it with Seth before. I know I've talked about it with Kenny. I've talked about it, we've talked about it here, about how we have all these barrels just kind of hanging out there, and it's just not being refined. And so we're talking about how this needs to happen. And look, I know there's been regulations. There are some that have been shut down. We got to reopen those. We got to do everything we can. That's how we start to see, how do I want to say this? Because there's not hostility, but I think that's how we see a little bit less anger towards everything that's going on. Because when people hear we're winning, and they're still driving down the street and they're seeing, $4, close to $4 gas prices, that's when they go, no, I don't feel like I'm winning. Like, yeah, we are making the deals. We're buying the barrels of oil. We just can't keep up with it. And I'll tell you, the stuff with the coal, how crazy is that? They sat there, we've been told that we're going to run out of this, we're going to run out of that. All these things that keep this country moving forward, that, give us jobs, give us electricity, give us energy. The things that do that, they're trying to change it. See, this is the problem with government. This is the problem, whether it's at the state level or it's at the federal level. When it gets bigger, the issue is that they want to reinvent everything. They want to be able to say that they were the ones that did such and such, and that they put this in effect. And the only thing, the only people who end up getting screwed over by it, it's us. Whether it's their bad decisions on who to endorse and who not to endorse, GOP, Ohio. Whether it's stuff like that, it's those decisions that are made. It reflects badly on us because we are the ones that have to deal with it. They don't have to deal with it, not on the level that we do. But I will say this, talking with Secretary Burgum, he seems to, that's somebody who genuinely understands. I'm excited to see what he's going to do. Actually, like I'm not just saying that to say that to, blow smoke. I mean that. I mean, how cool is that? Like, they're actually focused on getting it done. And then, of course, a big thank you to Donovan O'Neil for giving us the updates there with John Houston and the great work that they do there. Because I think this is the weird crossroads that we're at right now. Because you have a lot of people who are upset with the way that it's going. As I said, they see the gas prices. They're driving down the street. They see the gas prices. They see what's going on. And they feel it. They feel it when they go to the pump. I've talked about it before where, it used to be $50 a week in gas, maybe. Now it's 60, 70, sometimes 80, depending on the gas that you have to get. People aren't seeing the break. People aren't seeing the break that they keep hearing about. And that's where a lot of frustration's going. And that, look, the election's coming up. We're going to see the side effects of it. We're going to see just how people are feeling. But what I need, especially here in Ohio, with listening to everything and just the way things are going, I need to hear why the GOP candidates are good, not why Democrats are bad. And Seth and I, we were talking about that during the break. We just hear bad. Okay. But they're also saying bad. Tell us why you're good. Let us defend you. I've said that before. Help us defend you. Because it's getting hard. That's it. It's getting more difficult. Obviously, I'm a conservative. I want to be able to sit there and try to convince people to move over. And so help me help you. It's Jerry Maguire. Help me help you. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Seth, what are the updates quickly before? We got a little bit of time before break. What's going on with that?
Again, people keep asking him questions and showing charts of deaths from the vaccine, and he just refuses to answer anything.
He's not answering anything.
And the lawyer did get kicked out. I mean, it's worth playing at least a couple minute or so of this.
Okay, yeah, no, we could do that.
If you want to do it after the break, that's fine. Whatever you want to do.
You know what? Let's play it now.
Okay.
Yeah, let's play it now. This is courtesy of Town Hall. This is when Anthony Fauci's lawyer was removed from the hearing.
It's very tough to hear the lawyer.
The chairman has denied your assertion of privilege and directed you to answer, but you nonetheless refuse and stand on privilege despite the existence of the pardon. The committee will have to consider after this hearing what appropriate action should be taken against you for the failure to testify after being directed to do so. It's against the law to obstruct an investigation of Congress. There will be repercussions to your refusal to testify today. Senator Peters. You're not recognized. You're not recognized. If you are unruly, you will be removed from the proceeding. You are not recognized, and you are not recognized, sir. Sir, you are not recognized. You are not recognized. Security, we'll hold off. But you will respect these proceedings. You were told not to sit at the table. You insist on sitting at the table. And we told you would not be recognized. You are not invited here for testimony, sir. You are being disruptive. Would you behave this way in a courtroom? No, because the judge would put you in jail. I can't do that today, but I can have you escorted from the premises. So I would say, sir, sit quietly and don't say another word. I said, sit quietly. You are not recognized. Another word and you're gone.
So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to hear what the attorney has to say.
He is not recognized by the committee or the chair. If he speaks again, he will be removed from the room. This testimony is from Anthony Fauci. This is not a game with his lawyers. He can advise. His lawyers can give him advice. He's got a half dozen here. They're all allowed to talk to him.
Yes.
All right? Yeah. But the attorneys are not recognized. In fact, the attorney was told not to sit at the table, and he's not obeying that recommendation. There's a row behind you, sir. That's where you were told to sit, and you're not. And now you're disrupting the proceedings. And so, look, this is the way Anthony Fauci wants to be remembered, for a lawyer not listening to the rules. That's the way you want to be remembered, and that's what you're going to do.
Well
you are
done.
not recognized, sir.
Well done from Rand Paul. We have to go to break. We'll continue to play that when we come back and give some updates on that, as well as what's going on around here locally. This is the Jake Underwood Show.
This isn't Twitter or X or whatever it is these days. This is live, local radio, where facts matter, opinions are welcome, and politicians don't get a free pass. This is the Jake Underwood Show on AM 1420. The Answer.
Welcome into hour number 2 of the Jake Underwood Show right here, AM 1420, The Answer, 102.9 FM. We're on X, Rumble, and YouTube. Just search The Jake Underwood Show. I am Jake Underwood. It is Wednesday, my dudes, and it is July 29th, 2026, and the man behind the glass is one Mr. Seth Williams. Good morning, Seth.
Yo.
How's it going back there?
I'm having a good time today, man.
All right, yeah, dude, you're back. You're keeping up with the Fauci?
Just watching some people here.
That's right. Somebody in the Rumble chat, they made a great point here, so I wanted to put it out there. They said, on the advice of my counsel, I will respectfully decline to take part in this chat, which is a very funny comment. But so, I mean, is that's all it's been so far? Because, I mean, we've had, normally we don't start off the show with 2 interviews, but we had the opportunity to speak with Secretary Burgum. Of course, he's the Secretary of the Interior. You could listen to that, WHKRadio.com. We'll post that later when we post the show. But Seth, you've been keeping up with what's going on with Anthony Fauci so far.
I haven't been there's a Democrat talking now. Andy Kim is talking now. But the Republicans have been drilling him pretty good.
Yeah.
Just showing charts about vaccine deaths and injuries and people that have been heart attacks and all kind of problems.
Myocarditis, all of that, yeah.
Apparently, they said that Dr. Fauci had some sort of pulmonary episode after, the shots and everything else, and they asked if that could be related, and of course, he didn't answer anything. He answered nothing. But again, that Democrat's talking now. Maybe he's answering the Democrats. I don't know.
Interesting.
But yeah, he and then the lawyer got kicked out, which we played the clip.
Yes. Yep.
But he's got 6 other ones sitting right behind him.
I'm catching up on some of the text messages.
Do you want to hear what Andy Kim is saying? I don't.
I mean, what's he talking about? Do you know? No,
I can put it up.
Yeah, I mean, let's bring it up for a little bit.
Right now, it's not just that the people are being attacked, our public servants being attacked, but that it's undermining the very nature of the work of governance. These cuts to HHS funding, to NIH funding, to the grants, cuts to the researchers doing the critical work to find cures and medicines. These firing and these cuts, they're creating a chilling effect, honestly. A chilling effect for the next generation of people who might consider stepping up to serve our nation, to be the next generation of researchers who now are wondering whether or not this is the right
Hold on,
thing
is
for
he?
them
Hold
to
on,
do.
is he complaining about the funding right now? Is that what he's talking about?
Yeah. Why don't you, again, talk to Dr. Fauci? That's why he's there.
So he's taking this moment to talk about how there have been cutbacks because
He's grandstanding.
Yeah, because we're in debt.
Yeah.
So instead of actually, so let me get this right. The cuts were made because of wasted government money. So his response is to waste government money by complaining. Oh,
By complaining, yes.
Yeah, let's listen some more.
The type of country that I hope we strive to be. I've raised this because these attacks upon Dr. Fauci, it's not just about him. It's sending signals to others who are thinking about serving our country, our scientists, our doctors, our healthcare professionals, our researchers. Trying to show to them that if you don't get in line with the politics, that you will also potentially be
we're good on
subject
this. Yeah, no,
to
we're
attack.
we're great on this. Sir, who is this that's speaking? Who's
Andy Kim.
All right, Andy Kim. What research? What research are you talking about? Because I know plenty of people that did a lot of research, and you guys said it wasn't the research that you liked, so you didn't do anything with it. All right, so that's how that's going. I want to catch up. Excuse me. On some of these text messages. We have one from Dennis Polk. He said, Donovan O'Neil is exactly right when he uses the phrase going backwards. Ohio voters will be going backwards if they vote for Sherrod Brown and Amy Acton. Proven failure, unworkable ideas, a clear history of terrible policies. Sherrod Brown's election would be a gigantic step backwards. The same with Amy Acton, your friend and brother in Christ from Liberty Valley Church, Dennis Polk. And originally he said Donovan Mitchell, but he meant to say O'Neil. Go Cavs. There's somebody, when we were talking about the barrels of oil, they said, barrels? Are you referring to road barrels throughout the Cleveland streets? I'm not. But, I mean, if that was gasoline and, we could just, if that was refined oil, we'd be able to, gas would be, 50 cents? We have one from Don in Lakewood. He says, as I've said, Fauci will come out unscathed. Democrat senators are throwing everything they have at attacking Trump and RFK, providing the left-wing media with endless sound bites. Sadly, it's a circus that's backfiring on Rand Paul. I don't know that it's necessary. I will say this: the first half of what you said, I think, is spot on, because that's what it all comes down to. I mean, we talked about it with Jim Renacci. Numerous other people have said it. I've said it countless times. When it comes to, they're all about the soundbite. That's what they're looking for, their next viral clip. That's what it is. What can we get with the clickbait? It's the same thing with the YouTube videos where they make the faces and they're like, huh? Because they know people will go, wow, what was said there? Or they do the real serious face because they're serious people taking it real serious. That's what it is. So yeah, they're going to provide the left wing with everything that they need. But to be fair, the Republicans are doing the same. Right wing is going to pick it up. We played the clip of Rand Paul kicking the attorney out. So to be fair, to call it down the middle, that's what's going on.
And Rand Paul also said, though, there could be consequences for him not answering questions.
Well, and that's just it. So right now,
there's a guy we want to hear from.
Who's this? Who are we hearing from?
Answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color's the carpet in front of you?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Let's just get one thing straight. You don't have any rights under the Fifth Amendment because you've been pardoned, as you very well know. As the Supreme Court has been clear for a century and more, Brown versus Walker, 1896, when he has been pardoned, he may not stand upon his privilege. You know that. Your lawyers sitting behind you now shifting nervously in their chairs. They know it. This isn't about the Constitution. This isn't about the law. This is about contempt. Contempt for this body and contempt for the American people.
Wow.
But I think I know why you're doing it. It's because you don't want to answer questions. It's because you did all kinds of terrible things. It's because during the pandemic, you got rich, didn't you? You got rich while people were dying, hundreds of thousands of Americans, over 1 million in the end, and you were getting rich. And not only were you doing that, you were using federal employees with taxpayer money to apply for and solicit cash prizes for you personally. Cash prizes totaling over $1 million. You did all of that during the pandemic, didn't you? That's a question.
On the advice of counsel,
Wow.
I respectfully decline to answer
Okay.
based upon
All
my
right.
rights.
Okay. Well, look. I mean, this is going to backfire on Fauci.
I think so.
Yeah, this is going to backfire on Fauci. I mean, how many times do they have to point out, look, you got the pardon, you wanted the pardon, you got it. You're not allowed to do this. So what does that tell you? I'll tell you a few things. One, he was not prepared for this. He didn't think it was going to get this far, so now he's doing this. Number two, it's hard to keep your story straight when you tell a lot of fibs. That's why, they say the truth is hard to swallow, but it's easy to follow. That's one of my favorite things to say. Because, look, if you just tell the truth, even if it's a harsh truth, it's easy to stick with the truth. This tells me Anthony Fauci and his team didn't necessarily stick to the truth. Now, that's an assumption from me. And obviously, I mean, I think we're all a little bitter when it comes to Anthony Fauci and the way that he did things because it was ridiculous. It was absolutely insane. I mean, he put profits over anything. He put his fame and being able to go talk on shows and get invites to Dancing with the Stars and all of this other stupid stuff ahead of everything. That's what he did.
Quotes of him up now on big poster boards, and he's denying saying anything. Of course, he's not.
Well, he's not denying it. He's pleading the fifth.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Even though he's not allowed to plead the fifth.
I love Josh Hawley.
See the way this needs to go. And I don't know, maybe, and because obviously I'm here in the moment, but I think if somebody has a pardon and they start pleading the fifth and they're not allowed to have that privilege, well, then they should go to jail.
We're in cuffs right now.
No, that's the way that should go. I mean, honestly, the way that should go is, okay, well, then you're going to go sit in a cell until you decide you want to answer. That's just the way that should go.
Now they put up a list of awards that Fauci has won during COVID.
Wow. Yeah, so they're just, okay. This is where they're at. This is,
Josh Hawley is my favorite.
Josh Hawley's pretty good.
Him and Gil.
And I'll say this, Josh Hawley has very nice hair in person. I mean, when you think of a senator's haircut, that's exactly what it looks like. This is the Jake Underwood Show. We're going to take a break. When we come back, as I said, there's some stuff going on around the area. I know we have an IKEA coming. I think that means we made it. We got an IKEA coming to Cleveland.
Do we get the Swedish meatballs?
That comes with it.
You sure?
Yeah, they're going to have it there. That's a
Because
staple.
this is supposed to be a scaled down IKEA.
Somebody just texted in, Holly being a rock star right now. Talk about sound bites. That's what I'm saying, Don. Both sides are going to get it. We're going to see which ones stick. I think it's going to. You can only say so much about pleading the fifth. When the facts are getting thrown out there, those are the clips people like. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about IKEA coming to Cleveland, as well as other stuff going on here locally. This is the Jake Underwood Show.
city, your country. Back to the Jake Underwood Show on AM 1420. The Answer.
Welcome back to the Jake Underwood Show right here, AM 1420, The Answer, 102.9 FM. We're on X, Rumble, YouTube. Just search the Jake Underwood Show. Anything you hear today and you're like, oh, I like that, I'm going to go back and listen to that. You can at WHKRadio.com. Did I cover them all? I think I got them all, right?
Good.
Okay.
Good.
All right. Oh, and people not in the listening area, they can listen at WHKRadio.com. There we go. I got them all. We could tell bosses I got them all out of the way.
Senator Fetterman is speaking now.
Oh, boy. That's something. Real quick to follow up on a text that said, but only Fox and Newsmax will be running those. Well, here's the thing. I mean, if we're going to talk about complete hypocrisy and how it's kind of insane, yeah, they're going to run those, and then they're going to go to commercial. And what is it going to say? This report is brought to you by Pfizer. This report is brought to you by Johnson & Johnson. So, I mean, yeah, they're running it, but they're still making their money off of the people that made the money for Fauci. So, you said Fetterman speaking?
And he's wearing a suit and tie.
Oh, well, yeah, you know what? Let's take Fetterman.
That there was
this is courtesy of
theory
Fox
that
News.
The virus could have emerged from the lab. And early on, that became like a right-wing kinds of theory. And I thought it seemed to make sense. Now, there was a really advanced lab that was close by, and then you have this unknown virus out. So, but that became a very partisan thing. And now it seems now it's more and more emerging theory that that would have come from the lab. Now, you know, I think that the next time our nation's facing something like this, we are not become, you know, as I might have been, blinded by the partisan idea that maybe the truth might come from a side that's different than you are. But I think we should really be willing to pursue truth, no matter where that may have emerged, you know, for all of that. So, and I now cede the remain back to the chair. Thank you.
Senator Moreno.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
We got to go with Bernie Moreno. Let's
Senator
do it.
Johnson's comments about your opening statement, Mr. Chairman. I think it was dead on. Very, very well done. Mr. Fauci, do you know who David Schertler is?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Fifth Amendment of the Constitution. What does the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution say?
Oh, he's thinking about it.
Go to his lawyer.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based
They don't
upon my
even
rights
know.
under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution.
Get him, Bernie.
No, I'm just asking you what it says.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
I'm going to give the Constitution to my aide. He'll bring it over to you so you can have it for future reference. I think it's something that every American should know what the Constitution says. Do you know who wrote the Fifth Amendment?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution.
Wow.
So you're invoking a right that you don't know who wrote it or what it says. Is that correct?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Wow. All right, let me tell you who David Schertler is for the audience because he was ejected by the chairman. He's a high-profile criminal attorney. He's represented some really great people, like Senator Bob Menendez. Maybe that's somebody who my Democrat colleagues may remember took gold bars as bribes from the Egyptians. And there's an article here in the Washington Free Beacon that talks about why you would hire a guy like David Schertler. And the comment is, if you're in deep shit, that's who you call. Do you feel like you're in deep shit?
Well, did we dump that in time?
Yeah, but he said it twice.
Well, all right. Well, thank you, Senator Moreno.
Definitely got the first one. The second
well, all
one,
right.
maybe not so much.
Well, we apologize. That's what happens when you live radio, people. What can you do? That was Bernie Moreno talking.
We won't be taking that anymore.
Well, I'm wondering if he pled the fifth. What was he in deep poo? Was he in it deep? Was he in it?
How many times are you going to say the word, man?
Oh, that's what I want to know. I mean, you could come on. What are we doing here, Bernie? You're killing me. Well,
you can only hit it so many times.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, we'll find out. I guess we get an email, huh? Is that how that works? Oh boy. Well, no. This is look. Fauci's, this is what he's going to do. And I think we knew that. I think we knew that going into it. I thought we would get maybe some answers. This tells me a few things. One, they need to look into this pardon. They really need to figure out everything that's going on. And this tells me that his team knows, and I'm not going to say that everything we think happened, but I am going to say this. I think there's enough there that you can really start to connect dots. I for all we know, I mean, has anybody read through the diary completely yet? I have not. It's a lot of pages. I haven't read it all yet. So who knows? Who knows what it might be saying? There's a lot of stuff that could be in there that just connects some dots. And this tells me that they know that. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Is he done cussing in there? What is he doing?
Yeah, he just had a whole bunch of people stand up behind Dr. Fauci and say these people are shamed for trying to tell the truth. And he said, look at them. And Fauci would not turn around.
No.
He said, this is not a question. You can't even look at them?
As my counsel has told me. I did, man. It's
why does
really
it have to be the Ohio guy swearing?
Well, it would be the Ohio guy. It makes sense.
It
does. It makes sense.
But technically, it's news, so technically, it's okay.
Yeah. Look, I mean, here's the thing. If it didn't go from Fetterman to it was Fetterman to Moreno, we wouldn't have continued to carry it. But Bernie's our senator, so I wanted to make sure that we got some of what he said.
Technically, it's news.
Well,
on a news story. So.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if the bosses feel that way. Glad they're in town this week.
Yeah, really. I mean, come on.
Glad the big boss man's in town this week. We'll see how that goes.
Just for the record,
fun.
Seth is back in the hospital. This is Kenny. Kenny
Oh, that's not true. Kenny's not here. It was Seth. No. Well, it was Bernie Moreno. It was the senator. So, yeah. So, we'll talk about some local stuff. And this is a big deal. I understand. And so we're going to be going back and forth with stuff when different things are said. I'm just going to assume that we're going to see a lot of plead the fifths, but the sound bites are going to come out of this. The independent researchers are going to do their research. I mean, I know I'm looking into stuff. I got people asking me questions if I remember this and that and this, so who knows what's going to happen. But, we'll see what happens. Look, maybe we'll get an answer. Maybe dots are being connected. I don't know. We'll see what happens with this pardon even. A lot of this is up in the air, but we're keeping you updated as much as we can. We're going to take a break. When we come back, IKEA, and plus there's some scams that are resurfacing. I want to make sure people are aware of them so they're not falling for them. We'll be back right after this.
politicians listen to talk radio. Some pretend not to. Either way, we're still asking the questions. Back to the Jake Underwood Show on AM 1420. The Answer.
Welcome back to the Jake Underwood Show right here, AM 1420, The Answer 102.9 FM. Excuse me. We're also on Rumble X YouTube. Just search the Jake Underwood Show. We've been covering off and on the Fauci hearings this morning. If anything crazy happens, we'll wait till the dumb button resets and then we'll hop back in.
We're not playing.
That's how that works. But also, earlier this morning, we kicked off the show with Secretary of Interior Doug Burgum. We talked about gas prices as well as coal. We found a lot of it. And he's got a plan. I wanted to ask him about the national parks in North Dakota. So hopefully next time we could get to that. And then, of course, we caught up with Donovan O'Neil from Americans for Prosperity. And now we're going to focus a little bit on the local here, because I saw this article pop up, and it's ironic because yesterday I had a friend of mine text me, and they go, "Hey, I think somebody we know is getting scammed." And I'm like, "Really?" And then this article pops up. This is from Channel 5. This is who was it? Mike Brookbank, which he's their consumer reporter there for Channel 5, and they're talking about reloader scams. Do you know what a reloader scam is, Seth?
I do not.
All right. So let's say I call you, I'm a scammer. I call you and I say, the big one that they like to go with that I notice online when I watch the videos and all that about it, it's the, hey, your antivirus on your computer, it took $100 out of your account. Call this number, and then, we'll give it back to you, and then they get access to your account. They say, "Oh no, we gave you 1,000. Oh no, we gave you 1,000 instead of the 100. We have to go into your account, get it." Okay. So once they scam someone, a reloader scam is months later, they call back as a police officer or an investigator saying, "You know what? We're going to help you get your money back. Let's get into your account and take a look and see what happened there." And people are falling for it. Now, for a decade or so, it actually fell off. These scams, they kind of went to the wayside. People weren't doing it. They weren't falling for it. But now, because we see so much of this going on, it's back in the news again, and it's relevant because people are doing it again. I wish I could tell somebody, which, first of all, I would like to classify the government as reloader scam. we caused that problem. We're so sorry. Vote for us. We'll fix it. That's what they're doing. But so be on a lookout for this. If you were scammed before, they're going to do everything they can to try to hit you again. That's what these people do. They're lowlives. They're a waste. As a great man once said, Americans are the greatest scam artists. But so what? Yeah. So they're taking advantage of the emotion of the moment. They know what they did, so they're gonna come back and act like they're here to help. The best thing I could say, if something like that does happen, go to the police station, file a report, do what you can, make sure that you know who you're talking to. If you get a call saying that it's the police to follow up on something, hang up, go to the station, or call the police station itself and ask, is an officer named such and such there? And if they say no, then that was another one.
Another one that I see a lot of, on my phone anyways, is the USPS or Amazon. Mm-hmm. It says, your package is on the way. Click this to track it. And there's a link.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's certainly not a link you want to click on.
No, don't. Yeah, don't. I mean, just in general, don't click. If there's a link sent to you from a number you don't know, do not click it. Don't do that.
I called for disability, right?
Yes.
And I thought, I'm talking to a lawyer or whatever, supposedly. And they asked for my Social Security number. And I was like, man, I really don't feel like giving this out.
Right.
But then she explained, well, you're trying for disability. We need your Social Security number.
Yeah.
And I gave it to her. And I think everything's okay. But I'm on the watch now.
Well, that's a scary place to be. You think everything's okay?
Well, because you don't know. All of a sudden, I got a text from her saying, sorry, because you make too much money at your job, which is unreal.
That's crazy. Wow.
You don't qualify.
Yeah.
But I don't know who this is. I thought it was a lawyer helping me out, but it could be a scam. I don't know. You got to watch out, man.
Yeah, no,
you
you have to be careful. That's why, when you're at work, they make you reset your password every 60 days, 30, 90, whatever it is.
Yeah,
they
they're
make
mean
you do all
here,
that.
though.
They're mean.
They put out these emails, right? They look like they're from corporate or something like that. They just click the link, and then all of a sudden you click it, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, they try too hard.
Yeah, please stop that.
I will say this. I have not fallen for it.
Well, you're supposed to win an award, like if you figure it out and you say it's a phishing thing. And
yeah, they don't give us awards here.
I didn't hear any. I've done it like 12 times. No award.
No, that's Salem, Cleveland. They don't give awards here.
I'll take a free chicken nugget. I mean,
hey, there's something, what can we get here?
A certificate.
A certificate. I'll get your certificate. You want one? I'll make you one. A certificate's really funny, though. So yeah, just
perfect attendance certificate.
There you go. Yeah. But yeah, just be careful. If you were taken advantage of, and if you receive a call from a police officer saying that they're a police officer, whatever it might be very careful. Be cautious. Use caution. It can happen once. Everybody gets duped once. I got duped. I was like 18. I got duped. So it was years ago now, which is a scary thought. But so yeah, just be careful. If anybody reaches out to you saying that they're police, whatever it might be, follow up with the police station. Hang up and call back.
Or anything. Don't fall for it. I got a text on my phone like a week ago.
Yeah.
It said it's from the NAACP. And it says that I need to click this link to get a list of African American people that I could pick up from their homes and take them to vote.
You're not the only person I know that got that text.
Really?
Yeah, no, there are other people I know that got that text.
Now, I don't know if it's a scam when I click the link because I didn't click the link.
Yeah, no, I think that's a scam.
It's still a scam to pick people up and take them to
Well,
vote.
yes and no, but yeah. You could ride together. I could pick you up. We go vote together. We go wee down the road. That's how that works. Yeah, the scammers, they're always going to do it, especially with money being tight. I mean, we all know somebody who's received the call. Just be very careful because, like I said, it's on the rise again. I don't want to see anybody get taken advantage of because that's crazy. That stuff's nuts, especially because they go at the craziest stuff. And once again, AI, because it's this incredible thing, we got to give up all the farmland for it. By the way, Willie Nelson came out against AI data centers. I'm going to go out on a limb and say he's not a Chinese agent. So
he just doesn't want his pot farm taken over by.
Well, no, he just doesn't want to see the little town that he lives in where they're trying to get an AI data center put there go to hell. I think that's the main thing. I usually people like fresh air, clean water, and food.
That's nothing
that's
about the air that's fresh that Willie Nelson is.
That's the main thing. I think people want the fresh air, the food, and the water.
Willie Nelson hasn't sniffed fresh air in decades.
Well, okay, but either way, he's standing up against it. I don't think he's a Chinese agent.
No,
so,
probably not.
Everybody's saying everybody who's against an AI data center is a Chinese agent. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that he's not one of them. Just saying. We're going to take a break shortly, but yeah. So IKEA, it's coming to Northeast Ohio, which this is actually a big deal. I know a lot of people that want to go to IKEA. They want to do that, but it shows something even bigger. We've talked about it before. The studies came out about how Ohio is becoming that place for business. This is showing it. Not just Ohio, because we have IKEAs here, but Cleveland was the largest city I believe in America that did not have an IKEA. So now we knocked that off the list.
Have you ever been?
I have not.
Like the one thing I don't like about IKEA, and I hope this one's different because this one's supposed to be a little bit smaller than the other ones, is like when you go in, you can't get out. You have to go through the entire store, this maze of stuff, before you can get out of the damn.
Well, that's a smart move.
Why? Because you have to look at everything?
Yeah.
No, but I don't want to. I want to go in and I want to get my toaster oven or whatever and get out.
No.
I don't want to have to look at everything.
No, it's how they put the milk in the back. That's the old thing. When I worked at Verizon, because we knew everybody wanted to get an iPhone, we put the iPhones in the back. The iPhone display was in the back. Because they'd walk back there to see it. So they had to walk past everything. Okay. So then you got people stopping and going, ooh, I want that case. Ooh, I want that charger. That's what it is.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Make people walk through.
Stealing my money.
No, they're not stealing your money.
They're making me buy other stuff.
They're not making you buy anything.
I ended up with like a shower squeegee. I didn't need a shower squeegee.
Well, clearly you did. That's why you bought one.
I just thought it was cool. I could hang it on the shower.
No.
And they're buying something stupid.
This is the Jake Underwood Show. We'll get into the details of where, when, and when it expects to open, because it's pretty exciting. Businesses coming to the area. That's great. So we'll tell you the details of that when we come back. This is the Jake Underwood Show.
Jake Underwood Show on AM 1420. The Answer.
Welcome back to the Jake Underwood Show right here, AM 1420, The Answer, 102.9 FM. We're on X Rumble, and YouTube. Just search the Jake Underwood Show. We had somebody texted in and said, how is it they have Fauci's diary? Did he just give it to them? I believe it was a digital thing, and they found the files. That's my understanding of it.
Yes.
So they actually found the files. They were just hanging out. They found them, and then and then we heard him romanticizing about how he's just becoming so famous and so important because he is the doctor and he is the Fauci.
Dear diary.
Yes, dear diary.
There was stuff in there about Barbara Streisand.
Is that true? That's not true. Is
Yeah.
that real?
Yeah, it was real.
That's insane.
You heard that stuff, right?
No, I have not heard that stuff.
There was personal stuff about her and like things that she had wrong on her butt and stuff and all kind of different things.
You're being serious?
Yes. She called him for advice.
Oh, wow. And he wrote about
Julia
it in
Roberts,
his diary.
too.
Well, yeah, no, I saw the Julia Roberts stuff where he was like, she said that she was so excited to meet me. And it's Julia Roberts. Yeah, no, I saw all that. But yeah, he's doing nothing but pleading the fifth.
We have actual audio. If you'd like
Yes.
I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth.
Yep.
5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Anything you say, fifth. Go ahead, ask me a question. Did you?
That's Dr. Fauci.
Yes, that's actual footage, actual audio, yes. So we're talking about how IKEA is coming to Northeast Ohio. And this is a big deal. I'm excited about this. I've never shopped there. Seth hates it because he spends too much money. That's what it is.
I mean, it's a good store. I mean, I hate to say it, but it is a good store. But it is definitely a moneymaker from people like me because I'm stupid and I buy stupid stuff.
So this is not going to be one of the traditional IKEA warehouses, as you said, Seth. It's gonna be smaller, more compact, in and out. It sounds like this is gonna be around. So normally, which this is crazy, anywhere from 200,000 to 500,000 square feet.
Yeah.
This one's gonna be 80,000.
Oh.
So there you go.
Are they gonna have the Swedish meatballs though?
I would assume so. That's the big thing. But yeah, it's going to be in Westlake in Crocker Park. It's scheduled to open in spring of 2027. So next spring. Hopefully we're here for it. More than 3,000
for Christmas.
Yeah, right. More than 3,000 products. More than 5,400 products could be ordered online and picked up there. To answer your question, Seth, yes. They're bringing the meatballs.
Oh, man. Those things are so good. You've never had those?
I have never had those.
Oh, man.
Yeah, they are bringing the Swedish meatballs, plant balls, falafel balls, hot dogs, veggie dogs, cinnamon buns, and other food.
I will pass on plant balls.
Yeah, that doesn't even sound appealing. Yeah, no. So, yeah, if you remember back in, I think it was 2018, there were rumors about Cleveland getting a IKEA. People got all excited about it. This is from Northeast Ohio Transactions blog, by the way, courtesy of them. So thank you. And they just couldn't find a spot.
Originally, they had talked about off of 480 and Tiedemann there. Like there's a Plain Dealer plant there that I don't know if they use that or not, obviously anymore.
Yeah.
But there was a big area there that they could have used, but that didn't happen.
No. So that was the original idea, but they used to have a Dick's Sporting Goods.
What? They had what?
They had a Dick's Sporting Goods at Crocker Park. It left, so now IKEA goes in there. So that's
Dick's
cool.
left.
What's that?
I had no idea the Dick's left.
Yeah, Dick's Sporting Goods. It left IKEA. It like Crocker Park. There it is. Which they had it all like fancy too. They had the things on the outside of the baseball player and the football player and everything. So, but yeah, so IKEA's coming here, so we get to spend a bunch of money on furniture that we don't necessarily need.
There's a lot of shopping and stuff going. They're building another like a big, huge complex.
Yeah.
On Brecksville Road, like close to like Miller Road, Richfield area.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's going to be huge. I mean, they're talking about an entertainment complex and.
Well, I know they're talking about putting an amphitheater. What is it? 6,700 seats in downtown.
So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on.
So yeah, there's a lot of construction going on in the area. I don't know. Let us know if you're going to go to IKEA. The number to text in is 866-525-0955. If you want to call in, let us know if you're excited about IKEA. 216-901-0945 or anything that we've covered
There's
so
a lot
far
of art. I bought a bunch of pictures there.
An IKEA?
Yeah.
Really?
Decorated my home with it was a New York theme.
Okay.
So there was a whole bunch of giant pictures that they had. It was, I mean, I like IKEA.
Okay.
But I spend money on stupid stuff.
All right, yeah. I mean, for the most part, most people that I know when it comes to IKEA, they were going to Columbus, Pittsburgh, or Detroit. So, I mean, that's good. We keep it in the area. And, it's going to be 80,000 square feet. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. They talked about one being downtown. I don't know where they would put it downtown. That wouldn't have worked out if it were downtown. That would have been crazy. But, yeah, so Westlake represents an exciting opportunity to connect with more people in northern Ohio and help them create homes that reflect their needs, style, and budget. That's what the chief operating officer of IKEA USA said in a written statement, so they're pretty excited about it. Which, how about the fact that Cleveland was the largest area without an IKEA? I didn't realize that it was growing that quickly. So, I mean, it's growth. It might not be the growth that we're looking for, but it's growth in the area. So, I'm happy about that.
I went to the one in Columbus. It was good.
I've driven past that one.
I think you have to.
Yeah. Yeah, I've driven past that one a few times. And it's one of these where, because we always hear about businesses leaving. And, we talked the job growth numbers and all these different things with Jim Renacci yesterday. And, this is an opportunity. We had Buc-ee's. Buc-ee's might be coming up to the area. So, who knows?
Yeah, Mansfield.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that, we'll see ultimately what ends up being what ends up happening with that. But it's just, growth is growth. And we need more opportunities for people. So this is another one of those opportunities. We'll see. Ultimately, we'll see what the end result ends up being. But I'm excited about it. Seth's going to get more art. He's going to get fancy. Let's go to Bo. Bo, you're in the air.
How you doing, guys?
Doing well, Bo. How are you?
Just wanted to let you know that the Brooklyn one wasn't put there because there's a wetland there. So the EPA dictates as to whether we can have a store there because a couple of frogs won't croak.
Oh.
So that's the reason.
So it was the toads.
We would have had a full-sized one. We probably would have had a full-size IKEA there on 480 and Tiedemann there.
Yeah.
So, again, people have no idea how much the cost, regulations and rules and all this stuff, because I'm in commercial business stuff. I get loaded with this stuff, and people have no idea what hoops I have to jump through, and they always find something else to justify their jobs because, they lower the levels or whatever. They move the goalposts every time.
Right. Have you noticed a difference based on like administration and who's in office and who's not with the different regulations? I mean, does it impact you? Do you notice it?
Well, lefty cities obviously will continue and add on, but the Ohio EPA is as pernicious as the federal EPA. That you need to know. I mean, we're still doing the stupid e-check, even though the same guy that worked for the for the national EPA left the EPA 2 or 3 years later. He's the one that got the contract for Ohio, e-check stuff. So it's all nefarious. It's all money grubbing. It's insane. It's make you feel good, but nothing is really actually done. And I'm just saying we're in trouble if we don't get these bureaucracies under control. That's my main point. It's the hidden charges that people have no idea that businesses have to go through and jump through.
Yeah, they just know the prices are going up. Yeah, no, Bo, well said.
By the way, Bernie Marino dropped a few F-bombs at Fauci today.
He dropped F-bombs too?
Yeah, he threw 2 of them at him. He goes, "Who in the heck do you think you are?"
All right, well, it's a good thing we have.
Thank God we got out of that one.
You have to do some censoring on your side.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do that. Well, we carried him earlier. We caught one when he said the S word. I don't know if we caught the other one, but yeah, Bo, thank you.
Take care.
Yep, have a good day.
Later, Bo.
Wow.
Look at Bernie.
Yeah, man. He's upset. I completely get it. He has the right to be. I mean, he saw it firsthand. He was a business owner at the time. This is the Jake Underwood Show. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll continue talking about this, just the growth. And, it was interesting. Bo said the EPA here in Ohio. I want to point out something when we come back. This is the Jake Underwood Show.
Show on AM 1420. The Answer.
Welcome back to the Jake Underwood Show right here, AM 1420, The Answer. It is hour number 3. It is a Wednesday, my dudes. It is July 29th, 2026. It's a fast-moving day when it comes to news and different things. The main story today is the Fauci hearing. We had the Fauci files, we had the Fauci diary, and now we have the White House has released about 500, just a little over 550 pages worth of things about the lab leak theory, saying this is the origin. This is where it came from. That was released about 50 minutes ago, just about an hour ago. So while the hearing is happening, that was released. So now we're going to have that. I wouldn't be shocked if there's another hearing that comes up because that was released. Here's the thing, and somebody texted in and asked about it. They said, Fauci opened with a statement, I invoke my Fifth Amendment, like Lois Lerner. I thought they had to speak. Hold on. I thought if they spoke, they had to answer the questions. That's just it. They do. He doesn't have the privilege of pleading the Fifth.
Because he's got the pardon.
Right, because he has the pardon. Now, I don't know what they do next.
Hey, Rand Paul said at the beginning there's going to be consequences for your actions today.
Correct.
But we'll see if that actually happens.
I mean, look, here's the thing. And I know that a lot of people a lot of people like to go at Rand Paul, and I don't understand why. Like, there's this love-hate with him, where one day he's great, but then he criticizes people, so then we have to hate him the next, and he's an evil guy. Like, he's consistent. He's been consistent. He's one of the more consistent people. So what I'm saying is, in a few months, when he says something, that you disagree with about the president, let's not sit here and say that he's an evil person. But
it was great. He was just showing clips of Fauci, from earlier on in COVID, and then showing contradictory stuff from his diary.
Oh yeah, like it's all over
lies.
the place. Yeah, it's all over the place, and it's all there. We know it. We watched it. We seen it ourselves. So it's just, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't think you should be allowed to plead the Fifth if you have a pardon, though, and you're not allowed. So what are the consequences going to be? So this is where we really find out. So one of the problems I believe we have with crime, and the reason why it's as bad as it is because we don't prosecute like we should. We don't hold the criminals accountable the way that we should. Everybody, whether it's cash bound, whatever it might be, it's different everywhere. But either way, the answer is they're not given the correct punishment. So if Dr. Fauci's is just allowed to do this and then walk away and everything's fine, what's the point of it? Like I'm actually asking. I mean, if you have an opinion, 216-901-0945. I mean, what do you think should happen to Dr. Fauci? He went in there. He broke the law. He's not allowed to plead the Fifth, but he did it anyways. And I want to know if you think that they're actually going to follow up on it. I don't know that they will. I hope they do. I will say this. I think Rand Paul will try. And as I said, the White House put out the stuff about the lab leak, the origin of it. It's like I said, it's 557 pages worth of documents. So I we'll find out. And I hate giving that as an answer, but this is all it's all happening right in front of our eyes. But that guy shouldn't be able to go in there and not give answers. Look, you shut down a country. Or let me rephrase that. You were advising to shut down the country for a year and a half, and they followed your advice. You'd been in that position since the 80s. You'd been a part of government since the 80s at that point. And we're just seeing it more. Like we deserve to know. That's the main thing. We deserve to know all of this. We deserve to know what happened. And look, if you have the pardon, this tells me that there's a few things that my mind jumps to. He knows that pardon's not legit. That's why he's covering his cheeks now. He knows it's not legit. Had it been a legitimate pardon, he would know that he could go up there and he could say whatever. So a few things and now you could say that this is paranoid, Jake, and that, you're getting goofy again because some people like to tell me that when I start trying to connect dots in my head. This tells me that this would incriminate a lot of people if he actually starts running his mouth and he starts talking. So who's telling him to be quiet? Who's telling him not to say anything? Because if he went up there and he said stuff, he wouldn't get in trouble. He's actually going to be in more trouble now that he hasn't said anything. So who's telling him not to talk? Who's he trying to protect? Is it his buddies? Is it his money? Is it the money that he has, his family, his friends like Julia Roberts? All these files are starting to come out. This is where people really start to get frustrated and they just decide, I'm done with it. And what I mean when I say that they're done with it is they don't vote, they don't take part in it, they don't care anymore. This is the reason why. Because we have people that are given a privilege and they don't even follow that. They don't even follow the rules. How can you expect your citizens to follow the rules if the people who are supposed to follow the rules don't follow the rules? Like I'm genuinely asking. I don't know how they can expect it. I really don't. Like it doesn't make any sense to me. Now, yeah, you're going to have the people that morally they're just going to do it because that's what you do. But, you're always going to have criminals. You're always going to have people. If we don't prosecute somebody who's on a stage like Fauci is right now, if we don't actually go after them because he's not doing what he's supposed to do. So what is it? Is it that the pardon's not legit? And I'm not talking the rumors and all that. I'm talking about actual things. Like, well, let's look at it. Let's look at it from the Fauci standpoint of why wouldn't he speak? Why isn't he talking? He can't incriminate himself. That's the part that's blowing my mind. He can't incriminate himself. So why is he staying quiet? What's the reason he's staying quiet? Like, what's the actual reason? So who's connected? Who are they going to be able to tie to this? And I did see the clip. Bernie Moreno did drop a few F-bombs. So it's a good thing that we did not continue to carry that live here on AM 1420, The Answer. But who's he lying? What is there to hide? What is there to hide at this point? If you have a pardon and you're able to get away with it. I mean, he got everything you wanted, right? He got the fame. He got the money. He's going to write books. He's going to end up writing a book about this. Prosecuted for standing up or something. I don't know. It's going to be some stupid name of the book. They're all going to interview him. They're going to talk about America's doctor. Like, he was America's doctor. And now we can't get answers? None? Like zero? What's going on here? The country was shut down. It was shut down completely. Like, we can't get an answer for that? He won't even answer what color is the carpet in front of you? He was asked what the Fifth Amendment means. He wouldn't answer that? This is why people think the government's a joke. Because it is. This is laughable. Honestly, it's kind of pathetic. Because, if this is us, oh, man, our hearing's not going this long. Our hearing's not going this long. They know exactly what they would do and how they would get the answers out of us. But they're allowed to do whatever they want. You want to know why people get disconnected from government, whether it's a party appointing somebody a year before a primary even starts, or it wasn't a year before the election. That's how people lose faith in government. Whether it's things like this where they're pulling up quotes and they're showing pictures, they're showing proof of what happened. And they're still going to let this guy do this? How many times can you tell somebody, hey, what you're doing, you're not allowed to do, and they continue to do it? And what do? They're grandstanding now. Now all of them are grandstanding. This is really frustrating. Because, we could be mad at the Democrats for grandstanding, but now the Republicans are grandstanding too. Rand Paul should have said to hell with it. All right, you don't want to give answers? Okay, it's done. You deal with it. You deal with the repercussions of this, because this is on you. You're not going to answer questions? You have to. You were pardoned. You want to play this game? And when he starts talking to his lawyers, go, all right, never mind. We'll try it again. That's what... Because we can't continue to just be chasing our own tails, because that's what it is at this point. Both sides are going for bigger government. Both sides are going to take the opportunity to grandstand when they can. When eventually do we say enough is enough? Because, I mean, we see gas prices are high, food's high, all these things. And look, I'm not saying that it's not being worked on. I understand that it's being worked on. I get that. But the people that are supposed to enforce and follow the law right now, they're sitting there talking to each other. And you know what? Those clips are going to be good. Don't get me wrong. We're probably going to play some of them tomorrow. Whether it's Josh Hawley, Bernie Moreno, John Fetterman, whoever. So I guess I'm a part of the problem too, because I'm going to sit here and play them, because I want to make sure we all know what's going on. But Where's the accountability? Because there's none here. There's none here. I give credit to Rand Paul because he's trying. But where's the accountability? And how can they expect people to be accountable for their actions when they won't even do it? It's incredibly frustrating.
If they hold him in contempt, he could face 1 to 12 months in jail and a $100,000 fine.
Yeah, we'll see how well that goes.
The lawyer who was kicked out earlier has put out a statement just saying that Rand Paul has a vendetta against his client.
Yeah, that's it. Well, then you know what? So does half of America because we deserve answers. That's the Jake Underwood Show. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll continue talking about this a bit. And I'll take a look and dive in a little bit on what the White House released. That and more when we return. This is the Jake Underwood Show.
does promise to ask better questions. Back to the Jake Underwood Show on AM 1420. The Answer.
Welcome back to the Jake Underwood Show right here, AM 1420, The Answer, 102.9 FM. We're on X, Rumble, and YouTube. We got some text messages to get to here. Someone texted in, they said, charge the Fauci, which I think I like the Fauci, charge the Fauci with everything just so they can bankrupt him and he can spend the rest of his life in court fighting it. That's from the 216. I mean, I'm not against it, but with the pardon, what can they do? Someone else texted in and said, if Fauci is not jailed immediately for contempt of Congress like any other citizen would be, then we have enacted the law that allows immunity for the rich and famous. Such a thing flies in the face of any reasonable person's belief in justice for all. The rule of law becomes a joke. Your friend and brother in Christ, Liberty Valley Church, Dennis Polk. See, I agree with that. That's what I'm saying here. How is anybody going to take the law seriously with this happening? Someone else texted in and said, what Republican senators are doing well is getting things entered into the record. That's true. That's a good point. For those, and those will now be written in stone. Fauci has invoked the fifth, when he sent this text, it was 69 times. Seth, you said it's over, 80?
It's over 90 now.
Over 90 now. He sent this, and he sent this text in. I got it 6 minutes ago, right before we went to break. 69 times so far, so why wouldn't we grandstand? Facts need to get out. That's a good point. Look, no, you're right. Yeah, no, that's a good point. I just, I'm sick of not getting answers to things. And somebody else texted in and said, Renacy would make him talk. I agree. Get you Renacy down there. Straighten it all out.
I am interested to see if Paul does something at the end of this.
Well, it's not going to be directly at the end of it. It's not going to be like some Hollywood scene where at the end they all stand up and Rand Paul goes, "Sir, I hold you in contempt." And Anthony Fauci turns around and goes, "Truth! You want the truth? You can't handle it." It's not going to be anything like that.
But can they cuff him and take him out? And he told the lawyer to get out. Had security come and take him out.
Here's the thing, though. This is what you have to remember. This is why the fact that we're all as divided as we are drives me nuts sometimes. Because, look, Rand Paul wouldn't want to be carried out of there in handcuffs. None of those senators would want to be carried out of there in handcuffs, so they're not going to do it to another person. That's what it is, because they don't want it done to them.
Rand Paul just said, literally just now, said, I'm giving you one more chance to comply with the law.
Listen, I will be... And I want to be wrong here. I will be shocked if that actually happens. I will be shocked if Fauci is carried out in handcuffs. But stuff like that needs to start happening. To the people that break the law, that needs to start happening. No ifs, ands, or buts. It just needs to happen. If you break the law, you do something wrong, you need to be held accountable. That's just it. We're held accountable. We are. Why aren't they? That's what all this comes down to. Why are they allowed to do stuff?
He is now direct him to answer the question or else.
Or should we take this live? Should we see how this works out?
Yeah.
This is courtesy of Fox News. This is the Fauci hearing.
Vote next week on a resolution certifying your contempt. I think we have another question or two from Senator Langford.
Chairman, really, this is
so real quick, Seth, what did that say as we were taking it up? He said that there's going to be a hearing next week.
A resolution for contempt.
Okay. So they could hold him in contempt. We'll see. Because this, like I said, this is what you have to remember. Yeah, you have a lot of the people there. I don't know if it's an overwhelming majority, but I think it's close. It's probably 45 to 55%. I would say the 45% of people, when it comes to stuff like this, and especially Fauci, they're going to want to do the right thing. But this is what you have to remember with this. They could find themselves sitting in that same chair Fauci is. So this is where the game comes into play. That's what this is. That's the part that's most upsetting about this. This is the dumb game that they play. So meanwhile, we're over here screaming at each other, going back and forth. They're walking out of there and they're going to go get lunch afterwards. That's where the disconnect comes in. I'm not saying that's the case for all of them, but for a lot of them, they do. That's why when people are like, "Oh, I can never talk to somebody this or this or this or this," But what do you think they're gonna go like separate ways, like it's a movie? Come on, that's not how that works. Is he's still pleading the fifth?
No, now they're discussing the hearing that's going to take place next week on contempt and possibly more charges.
All right, well let's take a listen.
I think it was a routine thing. I think he destroyed throughout his career. There are probably thousands of emails. Even if he did that, as long as he answered truthfully, yes, I did. I didn't think that was important. I made a mistake. You can't be prosecuted for it. Many of the things are outside the statute of limitations as well. All he had to do today, if he wanted to testify, was be honest. As long as he was honest, even about committing a crime, he would have no jeopardy. But I think the pardon has given him more immunity than most people would ever get. Like if you offer a witness immunity in exchange for testimony, he has blanket immunity. The president gave him blanket immunity for virtually anything he could have possibly done, while at NIH. So I think we all have to individually answer this question. We welcome you to be part of helping us figure out the question, but there will be a vote, at least right now, there will be planned to be a vote next week on contempt.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Interesting. So are they voting on that now for when the hearing will be?
I don't know. Just next week there's going to be a hearing. So
did they're getting up? They're walking out?
No, Paul's still talking.
Okay.
Running the scenarios through his mind, wondering, latching on to lingering doubts, and worrying. Did his actions lead to the largest man-made plague in human history? Are the millions dead the result of his experiments or experiments that he approved that increased the pathogenicity of deadly viruses? History will judge, but the facts, as we now know them, paint a sordid tale of dishonesty, misjudgment, and ultimately the hubris, the likes of which the world has rarely seen. If everyone will remain seated for a few minutes, we're going to let Dr. Fauci exit.
Okay, so yeah, they're done for the day. Okay.
There you go.
Someone texted in and said he's in contempt of Congress. His auto pen pardon can't save him anymore. Throw him in jail for as long as possible. I mean, we'll see what happens. So we'll see if they hold him in contempt.
Contempt of Congress, again, punishable by 1 to 12 months in prison.
1 to 12 months in prison.
$100,000 fine.
So we'll see. I mean, we'll see. How much? You said $100,000 fine?
Yes.
Oh, they'll get donors to pay for that.
No, I mean, the lawyer already wrote the check for that one.
Yeah, no, that's going to be taken care of really easy. So I mean,
that's walking out now.
Yeah, that's where we stand. That's where we stand with the Fauci hearings. He didn't answer a thing. I thought for sure we'd get something. Like I said, I didn't expect anything groundbreaking, but I didn't think he was going to say I plead the fifth almost over 100 times. I would assume at this point.
Yeah, well, I would assume close to, yes.
Around 100 times. I didn't think it was going to go like that. How disappointing. But this is the stuff that gets people discouraged. It's the, just propping people up. It's not and because it's all encompassing, because these are people that are just, they're just over it. So they don't think that they want to vote or they need to vote or do things like that. So what do? They see people get promoted by a party. They see, campaigns not handling things right. They see all these different things happening. And then on the national level, they see people who really can't plead the fifth or at least need to give some background on things. Legally, there's really nothing they could do to him. He does it anyways. And what did they do? They let him walk out. We'll see next week if he's in contempt. That's how that works. This is the Jake Underwood Show. We're going to take a break. We'll be back with the final half an hour after this.
and local. This is the Jake Underwood Show on AM 1420. The Answer.
Welcome into the final half an hour of the Jake Underwood Show right here, AM 1420. The Answer, 102.9 FM. We're on X, Rumble, and YouTube. Just search the Jake Underwood Show to find us there. After show tomorrow. Tomorrow we will have an after show. That's a Rumble exclusive. A big thank you to, earlier in the show, we had Secretary of Interior Doug Burgum on, and then we also caught up with Donovan O'Neil from Americans for Prosperity Action about the things that they're doing around the state to get people out to vote. And then really, off and on, we've been covering the Fauci hearings. I was going to say Fauci files, but here's the thing. I've done 2 parts on the Fauci files. I got to do some updates and possibly do another part 1 because everything is being released. If you don't know, if you're just tuning in, the Fauci hearing is over. He pled the fifth, 111 times?
111.
111 times he pled the fifth. So we got no answers. Nothing at all. They're going to hold a hearing next week to see if they're going to hold him in contempt. That's where we're at. That's where we stand now. So, we deserve more. We deserve more. We deserve answers. We just all of the above. We deserve more. I mean, this is absolutely crazy. But during all of this, there were things released by the White House. If you go to thewhitehouse.gov/lab leak, you see they're putting out more files. This is over, as I said, it's 557 pages long, and it just breaks everything down. But the main point that they're making and what they're showing, I mean, there's a lot of this. I mean, just not only the COVID-19 misinformation, but we're talking about the New York City pandemic failures, the lockdowns, the mask mandates, the social distancing, the WHO and what they said. We're talking about the, certain doctors, EcoHealth, the HHS, how HHS at the time was delaying things. The guy, I believe, who was in charge of HHS at the time is the leading Democrat in California for governor. So we're talking about NIH failures. I mean, gain of function research, which we got into a little bit when going through the Fauci files, how it was, oh, no, I would never, ever, ever do that. Well, it turns out you did. And we saw it. We found out. And now his diaries come out. I mean, it comes off as so many things. I mean, the first one's BS because that's exactly what this is. This is BS. And I'm going to take back what I said earlier about the grandstanding. I understand why they did it because you're trying to get the accountability, get it on the record. Don and Lakewood pointed that out in a text message into the show, which is a great point. I had not thought of that in the moment. So, no, you're absolutely right there. But when we're going through the lab leak stuff here, and like I said, I mean, obviously this is kind of the surface of it because it just released an hour ago. But they're talking about how the virus possessed a biological characteristic that is not found in nature, showing that it was lab grown. Data shows that all COVID-19 cases stem from a single introduction into humans. This runs contrary to previous pandemics where there were multiple spillover events. So there's enough here that the dots are connected. Now, obviously, they had this information, but I mean, what a time to put it out than during this because that's going to get everybody to look at it. Hence why we're looking at it now. But the dots are going to be connected. Now, here's the thing. This is what it comes down to. If the pardon's legit, then what happens? Does nothing happen? We just find out. They try to, they try to get him on something else. They get him on tax fraud. What are we going to do here? So if he's held in contempt of Congress, that's a $100,000 fine, 1 to 12 months in jail. I don't know that is he going to serve that? Like that's just this is the worst part of it. Because I know I'm frustrated about it. Seth, I know you're frustrated. Everybody when it comes to COVID is on one side or the other with the frustration. They're either frustrated that it happened and they know that a lot of the stuff that they were told is not true, or you have the other side that's frustrated because they're mad because they believe everything they were told was true, and how dare you deny it. And on the other side, it's the how can you believe that? So this is one of those that it's just it's going to be one of those that just try to rip us apart once again. And here we could have gotten some answers. And I wish we would have gotten at least one. That's all I wanted out of this. I would have been happy with one. Instead, He couldn't even answer what color is the carpet in front of him. This is why people don't believe in the system. This is why people have the doubts that they do. This is why they don't vote. This is why they get upset. Because how many times can we watch people because they have money and possibly some power and maybe connections? How many times can we watch these people just do whatever they want to do, get appointed wherever they want to get appointed, and get away with whatever? How many times are we going to watch this? You know, I was talking to a friend of mine last night. We were talking about taxes. She lives out in California. There's a friend of mine from the campaign. And she goes, you know, it's crazy how much tax we pay in California. Meanwhile, you know, in Boston, 250 years ago, they were dumping tea. You're dumping tea. And the crazy thing about that is it wouldn't have raised prices at all. In fact, it might have even lowered them. But it was the principle of the fact that they were taking advantage of the people that made those people in Boston stand up and say, look, we have some standards here and you're not following them. That's kind of where I feel like we're at. Obviously, we're not going to go throw tea overboard. So what can we do? Because if you vote, it's probably going to be for a candidate that doesn't have your best interests. If you don't vote, well, then you're a traitor to the republic. So where do you want people to go? You know, this was another one of those opportunities. And look, I'm not saying this is on the Trump administration. This has been going on for decades. We've been seeing it for decades. And we just go along with it, and we see it get worse and worse and worse and worse. And we're sitting here, and we're going, well, this is a country I don't recognize anymore. I don't recognize it at all. Well, how did it get there? Because we keep sitting here, and we just do the same thing over and over again. And the candidates and the people in charge, they just get worse and worse. And we're going, well, it can't get any worse, right? And then what do? We just go vote. We just go vote because that's what we're told to do. I don't know. I don't know anymore. I hope they hold him in contempt. Are they going to? I don't know, because like I said, for a lot of those people that are going to vote, they're going to sit there and they're going to go, if I do something very illegal and morally wrong, like kill millions of people, and I get a pardon for it, or even if it's, I don't know, fraud, whatever it might be that people will do that they get a pardon for. And if they're in that spot, are they going to want to be held in contempt? So now you're going to have to now you're going to see people play the political game. You know, we talked about messaging and political messaging and how they follow the party line with Jim Renacci yesterday. And I mean, you could see with the GOP, you could see with the DNC, you could see with all of this. It's so predictable because it's the same thing every time. They're evil, we're good. We're evil, they're good. What is this? So when we had the opportunity to actually see a result that maybe there was a little bit that the law could do, this is what we got. So the next time you hear people doubt the system or they doubt things, just remember this. Now, I will say this, America, it's still the greatest system. It's still the greatest. There's flaws in it. Yeah, there's flaws in everything. I'm not saying tear it down, rip it apart, nothing like that. What I'm saying is the growing frustration is there because this is what we've seen time after time after time. Where is the accountability? Because if I don't do what I'm supposed to do, I'm held accountable. If you don't do what you're supposed to do, you're held accountable. So where are we at here? Like, yeah, people could get mad about it, and the clips are going to be great. Like I said, we're going to play the clips tomorrow. I'm calling myself out here. We'll play the clips, but it's news, so we have to let you know what's going on. But where's the accountability? Like, where does it start? I guess that's my question. Where does it start? Because we see it a little bit, but even then it's blown off. So where can it start? Where can we expect it to really begin? Now, I believe it's at the local level. I believe it's with us. I've said it time and time again. It starts with one and it spreads. We spoke with Donovan O'Neil. He's a perfect example of that with Americans for Prosperity. But for those leaders, for the top people, where does that accountability come in? Like, what else can we do? Is it not showing up to the polls for one election to make them scramble a little bit and maybe change it up and get some decent people in? Like, what is it? What do we have to do? Because no matter what, you're not going to have people do that. So I don't know that that's an option. Because, like I said, it's been so just put into our heads that you must do this, and if you don't, then you're a bad American. Well, I think standing up for the system makes you a good American, and making sure that the system's run right makes you an even better American. And even looking here at home, standing up to make sure that the system's being ran correctly in the state of Ohio makes you a good Ohioan, as Mike DeWine would say it. This is the Jake Underwood Show. We're going to go to break. When we come back, it's the final segment. We'll put a bow on the show. We'll talk about a little bit of this some more. But you know what the saving grace is? We're going to have Swedish meatballs from IKEA here in spring. How about that? That's good news. We'll be back right after this.
meets the front page. The Jake Underwood Show continues on AM 1420. The Answer.
Welcome back to the Jake Underwood Show right here, AM 1420, The Answer, 102.9 FM. We're on X, Rumble, and YouTube. Just search the Jake Underwood Show. We have some text messages to catch up on. This is from Mike in Chesterland. He said, hey, Jake, I don't think they're going to do anything to him. Heck, we can't even get a straight answer about Mitch McConnell. Yeah. I don't know what to say to that. That's why there was silence. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Although it depends on who you talk to. Some people, they have hour-long conversations with them. Then when they get called out on it by major news networks, it was a 17-minute conversation. Then it was a 15, then it was a 5, then it was a text. So who knows? We have a text from Frank. It said, well said, Jake. I feel the same way as do most of my friends. Great rant. Since your show and some other conservative media, I've been inspired to at least get more involved in local issues and contacting my congressmen and senators. Thank you for loving this country and for being a patriot. And they followed up by saying, you're spilling the tea on the answer. That's right. We're dumping it all out. We're putting it all in the harbor. And thank you. That's an incredible compliment, and I appreciate that. That's very kind of you to say that. And thank you so much. Yeah, that means a lot. That's very cool. Let's go to Jim in West Park. Jim, you're in the air.
I think he's more valuable outside of jail because if they put him in jail, he'll end up on a suicide by bed sheet, and then the story will be gone.
Well, I mean, either way, the story's not going anywhere, you know?
The story is alive. It's going to be all over the place.
Well, yeah, but Jim, what's the story? That he pled the Fifth?
No, he's more valuable outside the prison. They can continue to bring him into the court and use him as a puppet.
Wait, who's using him as a puppet?
The Congress and the senators can bring him in, maybe bring in Obama, maybe bring in Biden, and go after other things. You know, if he goes to jail, he's going to be suicide by bed sheet. You know that.
Jim, thank you for the call.
I don't disagree with that. I mean, I think that if we put him in jail, there's a possibility of that. But keeping him out,
he played the Fifth.
Yeah, the story's not.
Yeah, no, he played the Fifth. That's the story. The story is that he played the Fifth 111 times. To the point we know how many times he said, I plead the Fifth. That's the story. Is that still the headline on Fox?
Yes.
Yeah, it's still the headline. That's the story. And then you're going to have every senator on the left is going to stay quiet except for Fetterman. Fetterman's going to do an interview with Fox, and he's going to go, yeah, I don't know. I mean, how do you plead the Fifth so many times? I wouldn't plead the Fifth more than once. So you're going to have Fetterman doing that, and everybody's going to go, yay, Fetterman. And then you're going to have the party talking points of accountability. We must have accountability. But we actually want it. We actually want it this time. I hope they do, too.
There was literally 4 senators just saying accountability. Well, do it then.
Well, and that's just it. That's where my frustration is. If you want it so bad, who do you think brings it? Like, really? Like, who do you think brings it? Is it me? Good. Go get accountability. Maybe that's what they needed. Because, I don't know, given that you were voted in, I would say that gives you the authority to do it. So go do it. Like, how is it this hard? How is it this difficult? Has it been so long since we've actually had accountability in government? And this is at a lot of levels here. I'm not just talking about federal. I'm talking about a lot of places. Has it been that long since we had accountability that we just regurgitate it and we say it as opposed to it actually happening? I mean, really think about it. We got some people on school boards that when a parent yells metal detectors after a tragedy with a gun happens at a school, they get kicked out. Where's the accountability for them? And that's a school board. And it just works its way up. The ego, it gets bigger and bigger, like a phoenix that rises from the ashes. That's the ego. As they move up. Once again, I'm not saying this is everyone, because there are some good ones. But what I am saying is that accountability, it lacks more and more and more. And this has been generation upon generation. Because it's like I said, and this is my point with flock cameras. I'm doing the weave here. I'm doing the Donald Trump, the weave. It's my point with flock cameras. Because accountability has been missing for so long. You understand that if somebody was thought to be a communist, they were put on trial. Now, what do we do to them? We go, it's not that big of a deal. Well, they're winning elections. So what happened? Where is that? Because now it's normal to not have accountability. The same way I fear it's going to be normal in 20, 30, 40, 50 years. Cameras are going to be all over the place. You're going to have face scanners, whatever it might be. I don't know. I don't know what the future looks like. But I know that we base everything off of movies because creativity's gone, so Hollywood just tells us the way it should look. Whether it's a futuristic car, whether it's houses in the future, whether it's how we dress, Hollywood's predicted it, and everybody just wants to go along with it. There's no creativity anymore. So we can see the way that it's going to go. We just watch the patterns. What movies are they watching? Hopefully they don't watch Total Recall, because if so, watch out. Honestly, though. Because the creativity's gone. Holding people accountable seems to be gone. The freedoms are slowly being eroded because people are losing that faith in the system. Because whether it's they don't get to vote in a primary for who they want, or they don't actually see accountability happening, and there's so many ors. I only got a minute and a half left here before we have to wrap it up. So I can't go through all the ors, but we know the ors. They're coming to your head right now as we're saying this because everybody has their own things that they're going, yeah, it's not like it used to be. So when do we decide that it's time to throw the tea? Because we can't throw the tea anymore. Like, we can't do it. Listen, I saw Marjorie Taylor Greene. I know she's so evil. Everybody hates her now, but hear me out. I heard her talk, and she goes, people just need to not pay their taxes. Obviously, if one or two people do it, it's not going to do anything. Get 100,000 people not pay their taxes. Get 200,000 people. And I was like, wow. When you think about it, that's crazy. I was like, ooh, all right. Well, I mean, I'm on board with it. I'm not going to lead that. I'm not going to lead that charge. But I mean, I'll be the third or fourth person to throw the tea overboard. I'm not going to be the first. I don't have the money to be the first, quite frankly. That's how that works. But when like, what do we do? What do we do to get it back? What do we do to get it to start to turn back in our favor? Because if you want to know why people are giving up, it's because they feel like it's not in their favor anymore. They're not working with it. They feel like they're working against it. They're walking upstream. They're not sliding down on an inner tube anymore. They're not on their floaty going down the river going, wow, what beautiful trees. They're having the waves smack them in the face going, I feel like I'm drowning here. We'll see what happens in the next hearing. This has been the Jake Underwood Show. A big thank you to Secretary of the Interior, Doug Burgum. That was a great interview. I love talking to him. We got to get him on again. Also to Donovan O'Neil from Americans for Prosperity. Thank you for joining us today. And thank you to everybody who texts. Jim for calling in. A lot of good feedback, even the ones that told me not to read this on air. I saw it. Thank you. We'll be back tomorrow. This has been the Jake Underwood Show. Tell someone about Jesus today. Give them some good news. Yeah. I know I got worked up. I'm going to be as patient as possible. But let's start working on some solutions. Let's get this figured out because we can't lose this. We'll see you tomorrow.